Oh, hi, Smarts. How's your sex life? No, do not adjust your screens. Do not adjust your monitor, whatever the hell you're watching on. This is, in fact, a review of Impact Wrestling, brother. And they had a show tonight. A show tonight in Toronto, Canada, because those who don't know, Impact Wrestling is a Canadian-based company now, particularly in Toronto. Oh, Canada. But be that as it may, this show tonight, pretty good. Yeah, I said to myself that I was watching Impact the last few weeks, and thus far it's been relatively good. A lot of fans have enjoyed it, and with how bad WWE has been, especially lately, like more than ever, I was like, you know what? I need my fix in for, pro wrestling. So I'm like, all right, I don't have the L-Ray network. Goodbye, Lucha. I'm not gonna watch Ring of Honor. I'm definitely not gonna watch New Japan. Get out of here with that. So I'm like, well, how about going for a company that I used to watch a while back, formerly known as TNA. TNA. Now known as Impact Wrestling. So I'm like, all right, let's give it a shot. So that said, opening match you had Johnny Impact versus Ishimori versus Petey Williams and Phoenix versus Phoenix in a fatal four-way match. Nothing on the line here. This was, I believe, first formerly known as Johnny Mundo, aka John Morrison, aka Johnny Nitro, John Hennigan. You get the idea. Johnny Impact, I believe this is his first match back, at least in Impact, since he got married. Congratulations to him and Taya Valkyrie. With that said, it was a pretty fun opening match. Again, nothing was on the line, but this was just a brilliant exhibition match just to hype up the crowd. And obviously, all four of these guys can do a little bit of flips. So usually that's not my cup of tea, but just to start off the night in a random match, it's fine. If you have it once in a while, it's fine. But if you have it like every week, then it's like, okay, seriously. But again, opening match was pretty good. Crowd was great tonight too. That's another thing. They were hot all night long. Shout out to Toronto. Did a lot better than what Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania did for Extreme Rules. I'll get to that in a moment. But Johnny Impact wins the match via Starship Pain. So congrats to him. And again, pretty fun match. Not very difficult to do. Next match, you had Tessa Blanchard versus Allie. Unlike the first match, this had a little bit of build up. Tessa Blanchard has been basically a very interesting character to me because she's been in like two or three different feuds at once. Like first she was in a feud with like Kiera Hogan, I believe I'm saying her name right. If I don't, I apologize. She was also in a feud with Madison Rain, but then she lost back-to-back matches with Madison Rain because lol, Madison Rain's BFFs with Fail Kim, and she's married to Josh Matthews because gotta give her a push for whatever reason. And Tessa Blanchard is also obviously in a feud here with Allie. And Allie, for people who don't know, Allie is basically Bailey done right. And try not to make the comparisons with WWE or anything, but she's that character that young girls can look up to and be basically a hero to them. And I think that's kind of cool. So, anyways, Tessa Blanchard, third generation competitor wrestler against Allie. Good, fun matchup. Allie, of course, being her home country of Canada, and I know people say, "Well, Impact's in Canada." Basically, that's not saying much. I know, but technically, I gotta say it. P. Williams was also Canadian, but previous match. But back to this one. Fun, not bad match. Allie hit her, what was it Alley Driver, I believe she called it, on the outside. That looked pretty sick. Tessa talking smack to Alice a couple times in this match was pretty funny. And Tessa hits the, what was it, the Hammerlock DDT. 1, 2, 3. She wins. I believe that's pretty good by Tessa. And, I'm glad she picked this company over WWE. Because if she was in WWE right now, she'd be jobbing to like Dakota Kai on freaking NXT randomly, or if she was in the main roster, she'd be jobbing to like Charlotte on SmackDown, and then jobbing to like I don't know, freaking Nia Jax in like 4 seconds on Raw. You know what I mean? But she made the right decision, is what I'm trying to say. And good victory by her. Good matchup. Both these ladies look good in this match. Then you go on to a very interesting matchup: Eddie Edwards versus Tommy Dreamer in a House of Hardcore match. Now, this match alone was already more extreme than Extreme Rules was as a whole. Now, I'm not saying much, but needless to say, still a fun matchup. Eddie Edwards is a very interesting character right now because he was just so bland when he was in, was it the something Wolves, whatever he was, him in tag team. I forget who's his tag team partner. I forgot on top of my head. He's like married to Angelina Love and they have a kid in real life. But needless to say, uh, he was in a feud not too long ago with Sami Callihan, formerly known as Solomon Crow, formerly known as Jeremiah Crane, which by the way is the worst wrestling name ever. Jeremiah Crane. Ugh. But basically, Sami Callihan made Eddie Edwards insane. I don't know if it was on purpose, but he made him insane. So Eddie Edwards got insane. He met Tommy Dreamer in his House of Hardcore and just like attacked him randomly with a kendo stick. So basically brought to this matchup. And Eddie Edwards is like, don't talk to my wife, don't talk to my wife. Don't you ever talk to my wife again? And freaking the dude's like, what? I'm just casually talking to her. But anyways, this was a crazy matchup. Both these men bled. I know Tommy Dreamer bleeding. Another news water is wet. But needless to say, Eddie Edwards won with the Boston Knee Party, which, by the way, I had no idea that Eddie Edwards was from Boston. Shout out to a fellow Bostonian. He hit it on the steel chair. 1, 2, 3. Eddie Edwards wins. Tommy Dreamer gave, I believe it was Eddie Edwards, the kendo stick right after the match. So it's kind of like, oh, does he pass him the torch type of deal to Tommy Dreamer? But Tommy Dreamer giving the torch to Eddie Edwards, excuse me. But again, fun matchup. Pretty crazy. So with that, and Alicia, I believe it's Alicia Edwards, Eddie Edwards' wife, just looking at him like, the fuck just happened? Next, you have the X Division Championship match between Brian Cage facing champion Matt Sydal, formerly known as Evan Bourne. And for those who have never seen Brian Cage, this dude is jacked up to wazoo. Alright, like freaking if Vince McMahon saw this guy, he'd be like, wow, yeah, I want some Brian Cage, yeah. The guy's like juiced up to wazoo. But needless to say, very athletic, fun matchup between the two. It's okay. Wasn't great. To me, it was one of those meh matches of the night for me. And again, I'm not saying like, oh, this match sucked. But just out of all the matches, this is one of my, I guess, least memorable, I guess you want to say. Brian Cage does win he followed up with the Drill Claw and won the matchup. We had new X Division champion, Brian Cage. Brian Cage, I looked at him and was like, this dude is jacked to wazoo. Shouldn't he not be eligible for the X Division Championship? And then I remembered, lol, Abyss at one point was the X Division champion. Then again, so was Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's never been a skinny guy. So, but then again, congrats to him for being the new X Division champion. Then we go on to Su Yung. Knockouts Championship. Su Yung versus Madison Rayne. And they're building up Su Yung as this, I know she's the undead bride, but they're building her up to be basically like the female Undertaker per se, because she's coming out of the coffin, she's playing mind games with Madison Rayne, and she's doing all being this creepy, instead of druids, she has her own like undead bridesmaids and everything, and it's kind of crazy. But I give them credit for doing something different because again, this is something you will not see in any other, at least mainstream company per se. So props to, Impact for, going for it. And thus far, they seem to have done a pretty good job. And again, wasn't too happy about Madison Rayne getting the push, but if it just meant for her being the veteran to do the job to the younger talent, the newer talent in Su Yung, I was okay with it. And that's exactly what we had here. Su Yung got the victory after hitting the mandible claw on Madison Rayne. And after the match was over, she put her in the coffin. However, she did not burn her in the coffin like she did Rosemary. I guess Rosemary is dead, but needless to say, fun matchup between. I wonder who faces Su Yung down the road, because maybe Allie gets her rematch. I'm not entirely sure, but anywho, you had LAX. Santina. Wow, I'm drunk. Santana, excuse me. Freaking half Puerto Rican. I should be able to say some Spanish names. Santana versus Ortiz. There we go. LAX versus the OGs, aka the original LAX of Hernandez and Homicide. You had Conan, of course, in a 5-1-5-0 street fight match. And again, this match was more extreme than it was Extreme Rules. And people are going to say, well, it's too many gimmick matches in this paper. It's only 2. Actually, no, take that back. There was 3. But needless to say, it was still a fun matchup between these two teams. Again, you kind of had the old, I'm going to say old, but the older tag team in Hernandez and Homicide versus the new squad of Santana. I am drunk. What is wrong with me? And Ortiz of LAX. Just going to say LAX. And crazy spots. One in particular, Santana did like this moonsault, springboard moonsault off the second rope, and he just yelled out, "Fuck you!" onto a ladder. I think it was Homicide was on it, and for some reason I was just cracking up laughing because I didn't expect. I was like, "Fuck you!" he does it. Oh god! Then Conan tossed Ortiz in a bag of tacks, and then he threw him with Homicide's phase, and I'm like, oh god, these guys went crazy in this matchup. But needless to say, LAX won after hitting splash at the top rope, and did Ortiz on Homicide, and that was a match, fun, entertaining matchup. I also saw on Impact, several days before, of course, on Thursday, the video package. I was like, wow, I haven't seen a tag team title match have a video package of forever. Again, it's a nice breath of fresh air. And according to Vince Russo, bro, I believe Kevin Sullivan, is behind those. So props to him doing that. Good job. Thank God he's not the Taskmaster anymore. Oh, 20 plus years ago for that WCW reference. Needless to say, though, going to Pentagon Jr. versus Sami Callihan. Now, you remember when I said Allie is what Bailey done right? Sami Callihan is what Dean Ambrose should be done right. Dean, you don't need to have a crazy character. It should be some Nickelodeon thing of, oh, look at me, I'm crazy, yeah, hot dogs. No, freaking be psychotic, be insane, be deranged, be just sick and weird and twisted and evil. That's what Sami Callihan is. And Pentagon Jr., well, he's no innocent bystander. He's obviously the babyface in the scenario. It's a mask versus hair. He's a luchador. You don't want to see his mask get taken off because in the luchador, not society, but luchador life, you're not supposed to have your mask taken off. That's disrespect right there. And it's mask versus hair. And for some reason, too, Sami Callihan this past Thursday on Impact was all like, oh, you want to see me cut my hair or whatever? You think of my hair? And I'm like, dude, no one cares about your hair. They just care about you being a crazy prick. But needless to say, fun match. Pentagon hit his Pentagon driver for the win. Also, Sami Callihan used the metal spikes in this one. And the announcers, I'm not a fan of Josh Matthews by any stretch of imagination, but both him and Don Callis really sold Sami Callihan be some deranged, just a-hole, nice better term of saying, by using them. So, good match. And Pentagon, of course, the match was over, shaved Sami Callihan's head bald. So, good match. And finally, going to the main event, you had Austin Aries, the formerly greatest man to ever live. And the reason why I say formerly is because the guy is no longer seeing Zelina Vega, a.k.a. Thea Trinidad, a.k.a. formerly known as Rosita. How can you be the greatest man to ever live if you just, lose her in your life? That is an L, buddy. I don't care if you have, 80 championships and, how many different wrestling feds. That's just an L. Needless to say, Moose also apparently is a former New England Patriot. I'm like, really? You know that? Anyways, Austin Aries versus Moose. Decent main event match. Wasn't the best match, not necessarily. I think, you look at the tag title matches, you look at, the Eddie Edwards and Tommy Dreamer. I think those matches were a bit better. Even the Tessa Blanchard versus Allen match was better. And really, most of these matches, top of my head, were better than this. But, again, I'm not saying it's the worst match. To me, it was still a better match than, Brian Cage and Matt Sydal. At least I enjoyed it a bit more. But Austin Aries surprisingly retains his Impact World Heavyweight Championship with the Brain Buster. And that was it for Impact's own Slammiversary. Again, it was, 3 hours, but you know what? It didn't feel like 3 hours. Actually, it was 2 hours and 50 minutes, I believe, because I believe it ended 7:50 my time, which would be Goodness, 10:50 on the East Coast. So again, an enjoyable show. Props to Impact for Slammiversary, and I know a lot of people probably didn't see this because they're probably more focused on WWE and like, I don't feel about Impact. They're still TNA to me. But if you missed this show, try to look it up and find it if you haven't. It's on YouTube, Daily Motion, or if someone else is streaming it for free or something. I don't know, but try to look up the show. This is a worthy show. To me, it's the best show I've seen all year by any wrestling company. But needless to say, we'll see how it goes from here. I believe they also said that Bound for Glory this year will be in the ballroom in New York City. So that's pretty cool. I know they usually get some pretty cool crowds, and especially in New York. And I remember not that long ago, it was like two years ago or so, 2 or 3 years ago, they started doing like Impact tapings there, and the crowds were always in crazy. Even if they did like 8 shows in a span of 3 days, they still were pretty hyped up. So that should be a good show. And again, Impact has my attention right now. And granted, I'm not saying, oh, I'm never watching WWE again, but it's nice to have an alternative. Let's just put it that way. So again, good show by Impact tonight. Wow, 16 minutes. I'm out of here.